Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley.
And
Will.
Okay, so we're deep into the summer now, and unfortunately there's been no E3. We would have had an E3 by now, but instead of that we're kind of getting the summer of games, which Jeff Keighley has coined as his own sort of thing. But anyway, so they've started revealing things, and I suppose I don't know if this was necessarily the first thing we heard about, but probably the biggest thing, the biggest news would be the reveal of the PlayStation 5.
I actually like it this way, by the way, Rob. The way I'm looking at this, we're getting chunks on a fortnightly basis of things going throughout, rather than just one big information overload where certain interesting things get lost. So this is pretty cool. Yeah. I prefer it. Yeah, I think it's giving every announcement and reveal the time it needs, especially since they decided quite early on to get out of all the other horrible news that we've been having. So this was a welcome relief, I think. Finally, when we got the reveal and all the it was basically a PlayStation Direct. It's about just over an hour long, I think. And they started off really by revealing some of the games that we're going to be getting, which started off with a bit of a.
I kind of blurred out for most of that, to be honest.
Start. Yeah, right. Just the fact that I think they just were quite pleased with themselves that they managed to make Grand Theft Auto 5 now span 3 generations of hardware.
Yeah, I must admit, Grand Theft Auto, as a leading the show thing, left me utterly stone cold.
Well, considering Epic were giving it away for free just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But it wasn't long before we saw a reveal of Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I think everyone had a feeling might be on the cards. They've already been demoing, well, a lot of the PlayStation 5, like actual hardware tech demos were using Spider-Man as a sort of reference point for like load times and all that sort of stuff. So it looks like we are going to be getting a Spider-Man game, and it looks like day one as well. There was a bit of confusion on what it actually is, so who's it? Is it Insomniac that makes it?
It is. Same company that does Ratchet and Clank, which is
that's right.
Also in the pipeline. We'll cover that in a minute. But yeah, I mean they've got a lot on their plate, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. They're really, really exciting developer. They've totally money's worth from Sony's point of view. Definitely,
they understand fun.
Yes, absolutely. They released a blog post just a couple of days ago to sort of confirm what Spider-Man Miles Morales actually is, and it sounds like it's going to be using the same New York City. Obviously, they've invested a lot building that, but it's going to be like a shorter game, something more akin to like the Uncharted game, Lost Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are complaining about that, but it's not going to be a full price release. And if there's enough meat for 8-12 hours worth of gameplay compared to Spider-Man's 30-40, that actually might be quite nice. You might get time to play another game before the end of Christmas.
Yeah.
I know. I love the idea of a game set in an open world that takes me only 8 to 10 hours to finish. Like that. That's perfect. I don't need all the extra stuff. And of course, there's always the scope for them to add more to it later as DLC or whatever. I know that's probably not the best thing, but if they're only charging if they're not charging full price money for it, I think that's fine.
Yeah, let's say 30-35 at release, which is what the half price. The last cut down half. Far Cry, New Dawn. Yeah. I'm clearly not awake today.
Tell me about it. This is very hot at the moment. We're recording this on the 25th?
Yeah, so yesterday was
very hot at the moment.
Yesterday was the hottest day of the year, and so is today. And I think tomorrow might also be. So that's fun.
Hot for UK, we should mention as well. Because
yes, but we're rubbish.
Right.
It's all regional. We can't deal with it. If the ice cream starts to melt, we cry.
The last thing about Spider-Man, though, is obviously it will be taking full advantage, or at least, full advantage for the time being of the PlayStation 5 hardware. So we'll get to see a very nice, upgraded,
awesome tech demo.
Yeah, New York City. So, you know what I mean? Because that's what you want when you buy a new console. You just want something so your mates come round and you're like, check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think they'll do something Spider-Man. Cool with the fast travel, right? In the original Spider-Man, you go to the subway stations, but they said when they were doing the Spider-Man PS4, running it on that, it was loading in like a second and a half. I think they need to do something cool with the fast travel, like they have in Ratchet and Clank.
Right, yeah, with the instantaneous loading. But Ratchet and Clank, definitely. I'm not one who's played a lot of these games, but I definitely thought that footage they showed demonstrated to some extent the power of these new solid-state drives that they're going to have in these machines.
Just a thing.
Instant warping
just a thing.
Stuff.
If they do if Ratchet and Clank is if it's a similar thing what they've been doing, Ratchet and Clank was showing jumping from level to level.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the Miles Morales one will have a hint of the Spider-Verse to it then.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Now
because if you swap the worlds out, maybe one or two as opposed to whatever it was.
Well, I know there's a new Spider-Verse film in the plans, and it's all Sony's IP essentially. So they could well be tying it.
And the first
we
first
might
suit,
get Spider-Pig.
The first suit was actually in the
Spider-Pig
in the first film, the first animated film.
Spider-Ham. That was it.
That's it. Yeah.
I wanted to go to Spider Noir's world because I just wanted to hear Nicolas Cage again.
Oh fuck yeah! I must admit, a Spider-Verse game would be amazing.
I mean, it's now making me think again of my dream game, which is a Back to the Future game where you get to hop between time periods, in seconds, sort of thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Open world in a DeLorean. That game is going to happen. I guarantee it. It's just a matter of time.
GTA 6. It's going to be GTA 6.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, so back on the Ratchet and Clank side of things, I mean, they're a series, I think I've played all of them since the first Ratchet and Clank game, which our mutual friend Bex got us into. And I've enjoyed every single one of them. They've always been great fun. Classic Insomniac, really. I think it was when I heard Insomniac were developing a Spider-Man game, I got excited because it was them. They know what works. And I think the new Ratchet and Clank, which I don't think has a date against it, so it's probably not till next year, but that's going to be another one to look out for me. Might not be a day one. I don't know if Ratchet and Clank gets me that excited, but I always enjoy them.
Yeah, no, I'm totally open-minded. Maybe this will be my first one, because I think that gimmicky warping might seal the
just
deal
to see
there.
what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything that you'd call out of the announcement, Marcus? Out of the games they showed?
To be honest, there were a couple of bits and pieces. I mean, I've never played any. Well, I've got one. I've got Dark Souls 3, but Demon Souls. I don't know if I'm ever going to play it, but I'm glad that it's getting some treatment because it means that kind of genre will continue and we'll get more nightmare horrific games in shiny next gen, amazing, terrifying, butt clenching detail. So
I was wondering if Resi 8 Village or Cottage, as I keep thinking of it as. Village, I would have thought that was up your
Cottage
street.
Would be terrible. I actually forgot about that until you mentioned it just now. Yeah,
because I must admit, although
it kind of feels like a Resident Evil 4 sequel in a weird way. Because it's got.
I thought that's what it was.
I think
to be honest.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean because it's the oldie village, isn't it? It's the pitchfork wielding,
like some sort of Spanish-esque village.
Yeah, sort of creepy European-esque. Yeah.
and 8 was just like a standalone, but it's kind of like the world of 8, but possibly going back to 4. But it
Hang on,
looks
is 8
like
a thing? I thought 7 was...
7
it's 8?
was 7 was the first person one. 7 is kind of like the worst first. 7 was the one they did for VR.
Yeah, but 8 doesn't... This is 8, isn't it?
This is 8, yeah.
Yeah,
So
all right,
8
sorry.
seems like it's going back to possibly the look of 4 mixed in with 7.
Gothic and werewolfy.
Yeah, werewolf, vampire,
Sort of,
vampiric kind of things with a whole sort of, maybe it's set in Romania this time or something.
Yeah.
It had that sort of like washed out monochromatic sort of aesthetic going on a little.
The kind of like Evil Dead sort of feel.
Yeah. No, just Demon Souls, though, I'm well up for that because I still have yet to really sink my teeth into this genre, and that's like the first one, and it's a proper remake and it was a PS3 game, I think, originally.
Is Demon Souls the first one?
It was the original, yeah. That's what...
Oh, okay.
It was the predecessor to Dark Souls.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really up for that.
Mm.
If you know that the train gets to the station on time,
yeah.
like if the timing is right, I may well get into it. But I've had Bloodborne sitting on the shelf for ages, but other things just keep coming up. So
like things where you don't die every minute.
I keep dipping
like
into
fun
Bloodborne.
games
It's just
fun.
like pain.
Yeah.
You go to play it, the game tells you you're not good enough.
So another one. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, the only other one really that kind of caught my eye was, and you probably want to talk about it, is the sequel to Horizon. That game looked filthy.
Oh yeah,
it had no
filthy
right to
good.
look that good.
Yeah.
Normally when they
stunning.
Normally when they show games off like that, it's kind of like, this is a tease. It's coming.
Yeah.
Boom. Title.
It's a long way away, and it's got some interesting detail, like the return of mammals, of a certain size, and animals and things. And I think the monster riding bad guy tribe, dinosaur riders, all of that stuff looks very cool. But it feels there was no date on that one, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah,
I loved the story of the story and the monster hunting, dinosaur hunting gameplay.
Yeah.
But I can't get excited in the near future for that one. That's the trouble.
Well, it's not going to get it's not going to get put in development hell though, because that's a title Sony will nurture and they will look
Sony
after.
have also
they
learned not to
sequel
do that
almost immediately.
Yeah. So the other one,
Yeah, they've been. Sorry, I just wanted to say on that. I just wondered, like, what you would like from a sequel, because for me, that game really, I remember all the world building and all that, but I didn't find the gameplay that compelling. Really, it was all bow and arrow stuff and laying trip mines and things, from what I remember. But it was good enough to service the world and getting all wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
I think I would like to see a few more, maybe like different options with gameplay, like maybe.
I think actually, it's a really good point. So sort of in the way they took Shadow of Mordor and then Shadow of War, you could almost build up the army. So in the original Horizon Zero Dawn, you could normally like capture 1 or 2 dinosaurs. I like the idea of being able to almost have a robot dinosaur squad on your side that you can control and order around to help you in these massive fights. I want to see more different robot dinosaurs out there and more strategic options in the combat. I think that could be very, very cool. The dinosaur riding, I think, will happen, but I don't know how good that makes me feel.
Flying dinosaurs? Being able to fly on the dinosaurs that fly.
That'll be an end game kind of thing, won't it? But that could be pretty cool. But graphically, that could be amazing.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Basically, I want to see the combat open up to. It's quite strategic combat in it, because if you went certainly on hard mode straight in, you invariably lost. I liked the stealthy approach, but I'd like some more options in the mechanics, and I just want to see 3 times the different types of dinosaur out there. I want to see loads of different things. And I want to get them to fight each other and to be able to use them to attack the human enemies and just cause chaos.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, having a little dinosaur army. That'd be nice.
Who wouldn't want a robot dinosaur army? Really?
Yeah, I know. It's pretty easy sell.
I think what I'm expecting from the sequel is to play the original.
I must admit, I want a story as compelling.
Yet, but,
right, that would help. Oh, Marcus.
Yeah, get on that.
Do it.
You know, it's like life gets in the way. To
Indeed.
paraphrase Ian Malcolm.
I don't think you can use that excuse at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know.
and yet it still can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, anyway.
Sorry, another one
life
I'm
gets in the
genuinely...
way.
Another one I'm genuinely interested in, I don't know if Marcus has picked up on this one, is Project Athia or Athia, which is a new IP.
Was that the
new
one
IP
with the
from
satellite?
Square Enix. I don't know about the satellite, but this is from a lot of the original Final Fantasy team. It's Square Enix. It's so it's behind the guys that did the whole sort of Final Fantasy franchise, or a large amount of it. It's kind of a fantasy world with like animals and dragons and creatures and stuff, action adventure-y looking. But I would like to see a semi-serious fantasy Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
I think could be really quite interesting, because it's pushing far more into the sci-fi in the last few.
I remember what one you meant now. The one
Yeah.
where the character did like a, I don't know, superhero landing strike, and like vines came out and
Well,
stuff.
it is Japanese.
Yeah. And at the end there was
Yeah.
like this, looked like a bit of a post-apocalyptic world, and this dragon rears up at the end.
That's the
It's
bunny.
like
Yeah.
big dragony dude. Okay, yeah, I remember now.
So,
Yeah,
but bearing
I mean-
in mind the Final Fantasy pedigree, that could be quite
I
interesting.
don't know when. That's a game I would probably say has a good chance of sitting somewhere for a while. Simply because it was just announced. It was just a project name. And
Yeah. Well, assuming that's...
I think
Ooh,
we're
if
looking
it
at
is the
5
project
years for
name,
that, maybe.
I think it might be a game called Project Athia.
Possibly. But
I
there was
don't
nothing else about it, like labelled or anything, just the name. So I reckon we're looking at probably about 4 years on that.
Yeah. I'm not
Which isn't a bad
convinced
thing.
by that. Just because I think Sony's perspective is trying not to announce things that are too far off. I could be wrong. They may be trying to just get as many things into that presentation
I'm
as
just
possible.
going by Seven's last big reveal.
Yeah.
And the 7 years or
Yeah.
something I was waiting after that. But
Yeah, there is that.
which I still haven't finished yet for my sins, but
Yeah.
oh well, I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think generally they've got a few other things, because I think they publish Hitman as well, and a few other bits and pieces. And I don't know what else they've got in the pipeline, Square, but with everything
Well,
going
no,
on
this
at the
is
moment.
basically a new studio that haven't released a game under Square Enix. So Square Enix is the
true.
publisher. So this is a studio, and I think it was when they finished Final Fantasy 15. Some devs branched off, set up this new studio, and this is the result of that.
Oh, wicked. Okay.
Is my understanding.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
I get you.
And it looked like there was some really interesting sort of real-time traversal going on there.
I'm going to
Just
revise that then.
in one section.
When's
Yeah,
the
no, it looks
Video
cool. It's
Game
got
Awards?
big dragons in and stuff.
When's the Video Game Awards? Is that like October, November, usually? Because I'm trying to...
The Game Awards
Yeah.
it's kind of, I think it's in December.
Oh, because I'm kind of
Right at
thinking...
the end of the year.
Yeah, same with like Tokyo Game Show. Because I know these things won't be a thing still, but they're kind of the signposted times where people usually release more info. So I reckon we might get more on Agatha or Athika.
I think Agatha from now on.
Yeah, I reckon that name's going to change probably.
Well, we will see. We will see. Another one that really, really has my attention, and I think maybe day one or close, was the new one from Arcane. Now, Deathloop.
Deathloop.
Now that
yeah.
I think I'd seen a trailer for before. I don't think that was. I think that was at E3 last year.
It was
in the Bethesda one. But Christ, that looks so cool, and I love that. I think it was 70s soundtrack vibe. But that looks bonkers. Just two assassins, I think, playing over and over. It's Groundhog Day, but with 70s assassins. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, enough with the Groundhog Day thing, though. Isn't that just every game ever? like you die, you respawn, you die, you respawn.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
what happens
it's
in
that.
video games.
No, I think this
I
is
just
more.
like-
I think this is a bit different, but I see your point. I think
Yeah.
this is more. Was it Outer Worlds? Has that principle? You die, constantly go back, but with what you've learned. God, that does sound like every game when I say it that way. But
It's like a roguelike. That's what Groundhog Day is. It's a roguelike. You
No,
keep
Deathloop
doing it,
isn't.
dying, learning a bit more, and carrying on until you figure it
Oh,
out.
no, that
We're basically
I think
playing-
you could be getting mixed up with Returnal, which is a roguelike like that.
Yeah, again, another one that seems to be showing that as its live, die, repeat.
You mean like
Type
Prince of Persia
design,
Sands of
yeah.
Time? Where you can rewind back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this
No.
is Dishonored meets Groundhog Day in the 70s, and I'm
But
fucking having it.
it's got cool visuals and it's
Yeah.
got an interesting enough take on it, I think,
Yeah,
to make it
totally.
stand
Yeah,
out.
I'm being, I can't remember
You're
the
being
word, but it's,
miserable, Robert.
I'm being
Facetious.
cynical and, I don't know. I'm just being awkward and annoying. But, yeah, no, it looks wicked. I love all Arcane stuff. I loved, Dishonored and Prey. I didn't love Prey, but I very much liked it. But yeah, they're games, they're toolboxes. They're there to, it's all about finding the exploit, making use of all of it and having fun, really. I mean, yeah, some of the most memorable moments of gameplay I've had over the last few years have been because I figured out you could do something in one of their games.
Oh, the other thing with Deathloop, or so I've heard, right? So you're playing one character, and you've got to go through and do this assassination to the Groundhog Day thing. But there's another assassin after you, which can potentially be controlled by like just another random player. It could be another human
nice.
hunting you in this single player game.
Oh, wicked! Yeah, that sounds great.
I
haven't
like
really
the
read
sound of
too
that.
much on it.
So yeah, that's got me quite excited. Do you know?
Yeah, I think that's kind of
God,
that kind of sums up the majority of the heavy hitters. They did announce.
I'm sorry, Blade Runner Cat.
Oh god, yes.
Oh yeah,
Stray.
Stray.
Yes.
That's actually high up on my list.
I'm
That's
fascinated.
actually I don't know. It's PS4 as well. I think it's not just PS5.
PS5. Oh, is it PS4 as
Yeah,
well?
I think
right.
I saw it because
don't know about
Susan's
that.
really
I think a lot of these.
Susan's really
Beautiful.
disappointed, and I said no, it's PS4 as well because we watched the videos afterwards. So
Cool, so it's PlayStation exclusive, and it is on PS5,
Yeah.
but it's PS4 as well. That's fine.
we could be day one on that.
But God, it looks gorgeous. Whether it's
I
good
know.
or not, I don't know, but I love the concept. So this is basically, you get to control a cat, and I think you're just trying to get home or something, but you're wandering around basically Blade Runner environment. It's all this gorgeous sort of Neo-Tokyo, New York-y, neon lights, futuristic world kind of thing. Yeah, looks amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to play as a cat.
I think we were saying
Not done that.
We were
Not
saying
done that yet.
Sorry, we were saying it felt a bit like was it Love and Robots, a Netflix series as well?
Love, Death and
Love,
Robots.
Death and
Ooh,
Robots.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
that. I see that. Yeah, which I did. Which still one of my favourite series on Netflix, to be honest.
It's very good. Very good. All right. So, anything else Sony related? You guys?
Ooh.
Or shall we move on to some of the other little things that have been announced?
Should we actually mention the console?
Oh, yeah, that's
yes,
it.
good point.
We probably should, yeah.
The gigantic, enormous console.
With devil horns.
The everything that's been photoshopped to Sauron's eye to a Wi-Fi router
And a
to
duck.
like a tower block.
In a binder.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no,
I don't care what it looks like, really.
I like it a bit. I can see where they got the design from. Because it does look like a PS4 if you kind of explode it a bit and swap the colours around. I mean, not a PS4.
and hit
PS3.
it hard in the middle.
The original PS3, because the weird elliptical edges of it, but you give it to an interior designer.
You know what it reminds me of? Is the Xbox 360. Where they all went a bit weird and, that whole kind of breathe-in motif. But the idea of that, of them they wanted the front grille, would come off, and you'd be able to get other custom ones to put in there, so you could sort of give it a bit of a customization. I think what they're going for with this is they've made those big white things surrounding it so that they can very easily create custom versions of it. And I think you'll probably, even at launch, I read something on Twitter, they were saying that come launch, you'll probably be able to buy many different flavours of the PS5. So I reckon there'll probably be a Spider-Man version of it and all sorts.
I'm
boring. Maybe not for launch, but...
I'll just get a black one.
Yeah, well, it's white round the sides, isn't it?
I'm hoping they just do a black one, to be honest, because white one is eye-catching. I just want a little black box that sits in the corner and plays games.
I would too. I would too. Quite honestly, I love the way that the PS4 sits under my telly. You can barely see it, apart from that little light that tells you that it's on or off.
Yeah, I don't need a box that says "Look at me."
I completely agree with you. I'm just giving you the reasons for it. I think
Does anyone else remember what happened to like the Super Nintendo and stuff that used a lot of greys and whites and stuff, and how they just yellow over time?
Oh, there is that as well.
Everyone's going to say like the colour.
They didn't have a clue back then, did they?
Yeah, but I think, to be honest, materials. I think just having something that's white, it's not going to, it's not going to stand the test of time. I don't think.
No, my 360 looked pretty grotty by the time I got rid of it.
I think they should have made it grotty grey and just be done with it, so that. Or maybe
the controllers have got loads of white on them as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've clearly gone for like a space age look, haven't they? Like a sort of 21st, 22nd century, almost Space Force. With like the controllers and then like the other shuttles, don't they, and stuff like that. It kind of has that weird feel.
Again, I think the white bits are there to be filled in with other things.
I'll be getting the permanent marker out.
And stuff. Yeah. The other question, of course, is to disc or not to disc.
Or I'll be going for the lump. Because that disc drive does put you got these lovely smooth curved contours, but then the disc drive kind of throws a lump out, but I think I need that lump. I want the Blu-ray player option.
Yeah. I've just got to... It's not so much about having the disc to buy HD Blu-rays, although I probably will for certain films. I would like to be able to have fully uncompressed 4K loveliness with awesome sound. It's just all the discs that I still own. Like, I won't really have anything to play them with on the odd occasion that I drunkenly decide I want to watch Gladiator. Now, damn it!
Well, the thing is, you'll also have you'll have your PS4 games as well. Presumably, you've got a few physical media, and you'll be able to get rid of the PS4 if you want to still be able to play those games.
Yeah, in theory. I'm not going to have both.
No.
I will be replacing the PS4 with the PS5.
I probably won't.
I just don't have the room for it.
But that's because I will have two living rooms.
Happens with it all. Because there's some issues with backwards compatibility. Like, sometimes you'll get certain things, like some games won't quite work. Well, you did before in some of it.
Yeah. It's likely.
If it's software emulation rather than kind of hardware, I don't think it would make that much of a difference between these two.
I think it's the same processor architecture, so I don't think there's really going to be much of an issue with backwards compatibility. For once,
I know that they messed up the PlayStation Mini, which is why I don't own one, because that software emulator was actually inferior to all the others that have been around the internet. In fact, people said if they wiped the board, downloaded an emulator from online, it would have been better.
Well, I just did a quick Google, because I knew someone will have done it. If you Google PS5 in black, someone's just taken the white panels and mocked it up in black. And actually, Christ, that looks sinister. It really looks sinister.
Yeah, it looks like an evil villain.
It's the ears. It's Batman. You put Batman eyes on there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. If they put out this Suicide Squad game, or there's a rumour about a new Batman and a new Suicide Squad game, you could definitely do it up for that.
Yeah. Or indeed if they do another Batman game. Yeah. But yes, I've seen people are reversing the colours and stuff.
I think part of that weird shape will be around airflow around the console. Hopefully it'll be a quieter machine than the PS4. My Pro's not been too bad, but my original PS4 was like a helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah, and the price of this, they are saying, is going to be about 600 quid, isn't it?
Well, no.
Oh, no, 500 quid with the disc, 400 without the disc.
This is pure conjecture, I believe.
Yeah.
This is a guess.
Well,
this is someone else taking a guess and you presenting it as they say, right? I don't believe the price has been published, and I believe Sony did actually use this thing saying, we're about the value proposition, whereas Microsoft are about getting the cheapest one out there. So the lower spec Xbox Series X or Series S or whatever they decide to call the lower spec one will be cheaper than the lower spec Sony. The one with the disc drive will probably be about £100 more expensive than the one without. But where that price point sits, I'm guessing 400 and 500. But now people who listen to this can say, well, they say.
Sorry for my inaccuracy. I
will call you out on this shit.
But to be honest,
it was just like, that's what I heard.
I think it's a fair guess.
The only thing we do know is that Sony will make a loss on it again in terms of hardware to unit sales, like the hardware cost and stuff, and they'll only make a recoup because it will sell millions.
I think maybe the initial ones.
Well,
I mean, the aim is always.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the aim is always to break even on the sales. Nintendo, I understand, actually make a profit on every unit sold, but that's because Nintendo are just, they have their own game. I mean, they're amazing.
The last few Sony consoles, they've said they've sold them at a loss, PS4 and the 3.
Yeah. I know Microsoft do that because my understanding is Microsoft are in it as much to, try and make some money as to stop another competitor monopolising the market. They want to be able to keep being a gaming company. But yeah, I think Sony will be more expensive than Microsoft this generation. And it will be really interesting to see what that does with the overall proportions.
To be honest, I think Sony have brought something a bit more special and a bit more custom. So it's the technology demands a bit of a higher value to it.
The technology is interesting.
See how it works. Yeah,
it's the exclusives that will get me.
That's the thing. They haven't just got, I don't want to say off the shelf, but it feels like Microsoft have worked with existing people and gone, what's the latest, what version of graphics card, processor or whatever that you've got, and kind of put that into their machine. And it's a snap point of, say, 2020's top graphics card up until October or something. Or 2021's, you know what I mean? It's the kind of, this is the latest kit in here, and it is like a blisteringly fast stuff. But we all know it's going to be obsolete because it's what's almost retail. But you're getting it in a console, so it's cheaper than buying it for a PC. Whereas Sony has gone,
gonna be cool.
Bring us something, and we'll tailor it a bit, and tweak it, and do whatever.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting, because they're doing different things again. And I like that, because it just doesn't make it a case of, which is better.
Yeah. Just more powerful. Which is the most powerful console. I think this new generation it'll be one of the hardest ones to answer.
Yeah.
Because I think they're just going to be different, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any... I still don't have any reason to get an Xbox with...
Well, you wouldn't. That's the thing. It's the muscle car versus the fine-tuned Japanese drifter.
Yeah, but the point is, if you've got a decent PC, the Xbox proposition, and Microsoft are more than happy with you having a Microsoft PC with Microsoft Windows and playing their games through their Microsoft gaming service. They're fine with that.
Yeah, it's always been that way. The Xbox has just been like a lower barrier to entry for their services and their offering, and that's even more obvious now that you've got the Xbox Game Pass, which is effectively giving you an absolutely lowest of the low. We're talking £10 a month, and
it's astonishing.
A 200 quid box, and you can play anything.
Yeah,
it is as close to that Netflix of gaming. That I think, here's a load of things for a monthly sub. It's amazing.
By doing that, they've kind of inadvertently gone. We've split ourselves now. Like you said, they've realised the PC market it's worth tapping into and leaving Windows for gaming alone. And they've just gone, we'll just make it an Xbox service.
Yeah, they don't really care what box you play on.
Well, that's the thing. If you're playing on a PC, you're still playing essentially an Xbox game. It's just through PC.
And they're still getting their £10 a month.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Exactly, yeah. No, I signed up for a couple of months. I ended up buying the game that I played on it, though. Because I was like, I don't really want any of the games. Fuck it, I'll just buy it. And they got my money that way, rather than me paying for another 3 months of their service.
There is not an executive out there crying into his beer, is there?
No.
Not really, no. It's like, no, they totally got me there. Well done. Congratulations, Microsoft. But anyway, I think we've, we've rung that one out. So,
I could talk about it all day, but it'll probably get quite boring. Well, we've done about half an hour on PlayStation 5, so let's move on to some more general game announcements. Starting with EA had their Play event in Hollywood. And one game. One game
I
care
didn't
about.
even pay any attention to any of it. The only thing that even went on my radar was the announcement of Star Wars Squadrons, which is effectively a long time coming spiritual
successor
remake of or successor.
That wasn't what we were expecting, was it, Marcus?
No, it's like a remake of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which is an old PC game. No,
I can't see what the point is, you know.
Oh, right, okay, we're going there, are we?
No, we're not. We don't have time, Rob. We don't. No, it's...
No, but now you're interested in me. Why should I give a single fuck about a game like this?
Because it's good. Because
it looks amazing.
Fucking amazing. It's Star Wars.
Right. No, I think this has definitely come up in our conversations about me my mystification about Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah. It's what
my riposte quite often is, maybe if they made an X-Wing game, I can kind of see where you're coming from. So here we go. They're making a fucking X-Wing game.
Well, okay.
So hurrah!
So let's wind back.
When we find that DeLorean, I'll go back and I'll reply with, "It's my X-Wing game."
Well, maybe that'll be a feature in the Back to the Future game. Anyway, I must admit, I'm nervous of Electronic Arts, and they've, the Star Wars game they put out recently. Actually, I didn't play it, but the news around it impressed me. But they appear to be starting to learn. I don't know what's going on, but I heard they were putting out an X-Wing game, and I heard like 6v6. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's just going to be a multiplayer thing. But I've now heard, no loot boxes, no microtransactions, no game as a service, a fleshed out single player mission and co-op stuff, and all sorts of interesting things. Plus VR, I think I heard from you, Rob.
Designed for VR.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yeah. See, some people on the internet are crying about their not it being first person. I don't care. That's what X-Wing was. It was only first person. But it's there's two campaigns, one for the Rebel Alliance and one for the Empire. So you can play from both perspectives. Obviously, this is all in service of teaching you the mechanics for what I think is going to be a primarily multiplayer-focused game. I think at least that's where its longevity will be. I don't imagine these campaigns are going to take very long to finish. But it looks like they've got extensive multiplayer modes, including some of the modes are like these sort of multi-stage sort of Battlefield sort of things. I think EA Motive worked on Battlefront, so they've gone, just do that bit for us and see what you can do with that. It looks like there's loads of upgrades and stuff you can do, and so you can really customize they're saying like there's a really high skill ceiling, so you can really kind of take advantage of the way these different craft handle. And there's also VR for both PlayStation and PC versions.
Oh, they confirmed PlayStation. Now that's interesting. I am so expecting PSVR 2 to be Sony's badly hidden ace up the sleeve.
I don't know, because they've used those fucking wands since the PlayStation 3. So
yeah, but if you notice,
they are badly in need of overhauling it.
Did you notice the new camera in the photos of the PS5, did you notice one of the accessories was a camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah,
interesting.
I did notice that.
Yeah, also...
The other thing, sorry, that this Star Wars game will support is HOTAS, so your proper flight stick and stuff, if you've got one of those.
Oh, nice.
So you can do your proper banking turns and have access to all your buttons to manage all your different, like your engines and your shields and your weapons and stuff. And
so they kind of want this to be their version of Elite, almost.
No, nothing like
what's
that.
The smaller one, there was a miniature dogfight, Elite Dangerous, which was basically like a
Elite
micro
Dangerous
version.
is the opposite. Is the opposite of small in every conceivable way.
There was a VR.
No, but
was
I
it
mean,
with
like
Battlefront or something?
They did like a little. They did like a little. Yeah, they did do like a sort of
just a
tournament
simple dogfighting
mode
version or something, weren't there? Where you just
Yeah, that was like a mode. I think this is going to be a bit more extensive than that.
Oh yeah, I wonder if that
This
was
is
put out to gauge interest, though.
I think it was put out there as like for the console people to see if they could lure them in that way. But ultimately, Elite is like a game where if you have a job, then you can't play it.
no, your job is Elite. You are a smuggler.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
But yeah, no,
how do you do a job
there was
and think about
massively-
where you're going?
There was a massively stripped down one, because I think I had an Xbox demo for it, but I never played it. But I just thought whether EA thought that's a genre that's still going. Let's do something to get in there. But yeah, regardless of the reason, it still looks amazing. I mean, I was getting Colony War vibes.
What vibes?
Colony Wars, old PS2 game.
Oh, okay.
Where you were taking out large ships and stuff like that, sort of like shades of Wing Commander and stuff like that. I think it was a PS2.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think Wing Commander is a closer reference point, or indeed X-Wing.
Yeah.
Which I think X-Wing was not really multiplayer. I think when that came out, multiplayer was not really a thing. But it had a very extensive single-player campaign that
It was a LAN
followed
party
on
thing,
from
really,
it.
wasn't it? At that point,
I guess if you were doing it, but it was a very extensive campaign that very much wove in and around the events of the movies, and Han would turn up in his Millennium Falcon and stuff like that. It was awesome. But I mean, looking at it now, I think you can get it on good old games, and the graphics are a little to be desired nowadays. But yeah, no, it was a great game, and it's been long overdue for them to do something like this. I just hope that the single player offering is decent enough, and yeah, it's probably another reason for me to get a new PC, because I imagine a lot of the people that I know who would be up for playing this would be playing it on PC, so I'm going to definitely need to have something decent enough.
you're just desperate to buy a new PC.
I'm kind of, well, no, it's just all these other reasons. And well, okay, so here's a segue then. Another reason I would like a new PC is because Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah.
So it was D&D Live, I think, at the weekend or last week or something. And so they showed the only way they demo this game is in like an hour and a half like live stream. So you have to turn up for it. So I sort of had it on while I was working, so I wasn't paying full attention. But it does look very cool. It looks like it's played from a lot closer perspective than Divinity Original Sin. But it's got all of the moves in there, and you can do some great stuff. It's like you jumping around the environment, using a lot of the spells and things that are in the D&D Player's Handbook. And looks like it's got a good selection of playable races. And all of the characters seem really nicely voiced over. The environments look great. I think this is going to be a much more cinematic experience compared to Divinity, which is more of a top-down tactical, but it still has that in it as well. So,
it sounds. I love the fact apparently it's all very dice roll driven. The whole mechanics around it are driven with essentially random dice rolls controlled by the system. So even if you've got a really high skill, you can fail this skill check and the consequences can be disastrous and the whole game will adapt to it. And I love that concept. I know it's not a new concept. I know it's Dungeons and Dragons, but it just feels like it done properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, every demo I've seen of it so far has usually involved, because he'll ask the audience what they want him to do, and it quite often ends up it all going horribly wrong, and like there might have to be a reload or something. So yeah, it's worth noting. Apparently, this is going into early access in August, so those that don't mind the odd bug or two can play it then.
I'm tempted.
I'm not going anywhere near it.
Oh, you see, the way I play these games is I will play them a couple of times to get the feel for it before I kind of go, right, that's the character build, that's the approach I want to take. So I'd be fairly comfortable doing early access for my experimental character build and then revisit it again from scratch when it's released. So I may do that, just to be able to report on it to you guys. The other thing I enjoyed in one of the demos I saw was basically he was fighting, I think, with some orcs or something, and he got so badly beaten, he ended up having to flee the scene and use the only throwing weapon available, which involved taking off his shoes and throwing them at the enemy. I mean, you can literally do that sort of stuff. And this is the kind of gameplay I'm starting to expect from Larian, who just have a sense of humour and a sense of practicality across their games.
Absolutely. And now, after what you said about early access and the reasons for it, you're making me come around to it, you know?
If you look at it that way, not I'm going to complete the game. I'm going to practice.
Yeah, but they're only going to give us like this sort of prologue section, I think. Anyway,
that's fine.
So it won't spoil it, but yeah, it'll give you a few cracks at it, I suppose, with different characters, different loadouts.
Yeah,
try out all the different spells, get an idea of what you want. Yeah, I'm actually coming around.
I've done that. I mean,
quite quickly.
Neverwinter Nights was a game I played over and over, which was the last big D&D game as far as I was concerned. Well, Neverwinter Nights 2. And I started that game so many times trying to just figure out the perfect character that suited me and my playstyle. So I'll do that. I'll very happily do that. I'll have a whale of a time.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that's cool. And so one more RPG that we have to mention before we start talking about the white elephant in the room.
What could it be? What could it be?
Before we jump in on that, actually, could briefly say that me and you...
Have you finished it?
What? No.
Final Fantasy? No.
Gauntlet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had some fun with that.
Gauntlet, mate.
Yeah. Not exactly a new game, but it's fun, isn't it?
But it's a fun game. Sort of reminded me when you were talking about Baldur's Gate, the sort of feel of that. It was very much like old school arcade classics where it felt like the world was very much against you and you had to persevere as opposed to like, I'm all powerful, I can beat this. It was, how can we survive? Shit, run some more, kill.
There was a lot of that.
Kill and run. Don't shoot the food, kill.
You shot the food, I needed the fucking food, why did you shoot the food?
Yeah. Pro tip, don't hit someone who's holding a barrel.
So this is the recent Gauntlet that was made a few years back, isn't it?
Fairly recent.
Yeah, what's it called? Gauntlet Slayer Edition or something, I think.
I think that's just like an update to it. A few balance
2014
changes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a PSN game, you know, it's not a full price game anyway. I think it's about 18 quid.
15, 16 quid on that.
I mean, I picked it, I got it on PlayStation Plus a while ago. But for getting together with your mates, I think you can do split screen in the room as well. So you can actually do a 4-player at home couch
in one
co-op
location on a couch
when you're allowed people over. But it's also quite a good, not too strenuous, not needing high skilled, but a good mates game. So had fun with that. We'll get back on that at some point, Marcus.
It's quite good because it's quite good because some of the characters are all different in different ways and they handle differently. So it's like the archer you've got with the elf, you've got sort of, it becomes a weird sort of dual shooter because he shoots arrows in the direction of pressing the right stick. So if you push forwards, upwards, or whatever, he shoots in that direction. And so you're moving and shooting arrows in random directions and moving around. So you could be running away from something and shooting things up, down, left, right, behind you, taking out, running round and running rings around them, but shooting and turning the bow in the opposite direction. And it's it's different. Like
Yeah.
each character
When you go
plays
multiplayer,
differently.
it's genuinely interesting. The different characters complement each other. So
Yeah.
the Valkyrie's got this shield, and if you can get the elf archer behind, it can kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
enjoyed
Elf
that.
Archer's got low health, like almost none.
Glassjaw.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'll have to pick it up and join you guys next time.
Do it.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah, I will. So I'm going to talk about Cyberpunk now. Because, yeah, I know it got delayed to November, but as far as I'm concerned, they can take all the fucking time they like. Because they showed some footage today in what was the first of a series of, I guess, marketing dumps in the run-up to release. It was like about half an hour long. They showed a new trailer, which is now available on YouTube, called The Gig. And it showed us a few other bits, and it was all in engine. So that was reassuring. Oh man, it looks so fucking good, man. Like they showed this new thing called brain dancing, which is where you can hack into someone's previous experience and just like take control of it, like you're in a video editor, and like stop it. Like I guess it's referencing that whole Blade Runner thing where you could enhance, do that, but it's a bit cooler. Apparently Keanu Reeves has got the most lines of dialogue in this, but apparently some people who had played the game said they didn't see him at all.
I think they've only done 4 hours from early stages of the game, so if this being a CDPR game and bigger than The Witcher, I believe, that doesn't mean he's not got plenty of time.
Yeah. The other thing they mentioned was out of the 3 different classes, all of them start off in completely different parts of the city. One of them, I believe, actually begins in the wasteland, so you can do that if you want. I think another one's like an urchin, and then there's another one who's like a corp, who's like a soldier or something. So that's going to be very
you've got the
interesting.
classic. It's basically the full blown fighter, the full blown hacker, stealth specialist essentially, and then the kind of other one. But my understanding is you could blend those skill sets, so you may choose a background to start with, but you can kind of do what you want with it. Yeah.
And they showed some of the gameplay stuff. They showed people like walking into a bar and like you just sat at the bar, just chatting to these incredibly, amazingly well rendered characters. They said even the NPCs that you're not talking to look like they've been all like they're not being put through a randomizer.
It's crafted.
They're all very, every single NPC. The vehicles look cool. One of the guys compared the first-person gunplay to Escape from Butcher Bay. He said it was
I
very
loved that
precise.
game. I'd forgotten about that game.
So
we need more Riddick games.
Yeah.
With Vin
they're
Diesel.
great. Yeah, I played both of them. They're wicked. Yeah. So I don't know. And they're making a Netflix show that's coming out. It's not out until 2022 or something, but they're doing some anime to get people into the world of it and stuff.
The other thing I would point out that wasn't the news from that one, but was recent news, is that if you buy the game for Xbox or for PS4, Xbox One or PS4, there is a day one patch, and that version will work on the new generation of consoles with a patch. They're going to do a full-blown version slightly later on, like the proper PS5 version, proper Xbox Series X version, and you will be automatically entitled to that upgrade, and your save games will carry. That's big, that's important, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the initial one will probably just give you like the
also I
the
totally
higher
predicted
textures.
it.
You did, well done. Yeah, so yeah, it was announced for Xbox, but yeah, they now it's going to be on whatever console you buy.
Yeah,
on.
it's cool.
Wow. And I think like the first day one patch will just give you like all the higher textures, I reckon, so that you can run it in 4K nicely. And then I reckon they'll do a proper optimization with all the ray tracing and stuff later. But I'm buying it on PC anyway. I've already bought it on PC anyway. That's your fault, Will. You sent me the link.
That's kind of like, you gave me a gun, it's your fault I robbed a bank.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If he was dressed as a bank robber, Will, then yes, it kind of is.
Anyway, so bad news is it's delayed. Good news is it's still looking fucking wicked, and you won't be shortchanged if you buy it, for the current generation of consoles. So happy days. I think now, I guess, unless there's anything else, we should mention our time playing the game of the moment, which is The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes, I think we need to agree that we're going to keep this 100% spoiler free.
Definitely, because I don't know. I think you might be slightly ahead of me.
I don't know. I think 12 hours in or so.
I just started day 2.
Yeah, I think I might be on day 3.
I just did the little flashbacky bit, and now I'm in day 2.
Right, no, I am ahead of you.
So I literally did the flashbacky bit just before this podcast.
I mean, that bit when Ellie turns into a unicorn astonished me.
That's what's getting them all upset on the internet, I think. They're just... unicorn tolerance is at an all-time low during this pandemic.
What was the message I sent this morning? There's a petition on change.org with something like 12,000 crybaby...
Oh, it's The Last Jedi all over again.
12,000 man babies have signed up for saying, Naughty Dog, you should change the story because we don't believe you said this person should die. Now, I don't know who it was ever, but my gut instinct is they're very threatened by a character where the main character and the secondary character is A, female, and B, gay. To which I would say option C is fuck off. Right? It's a great story, it's a great game. What's the problem?
Yeah. I guess I'd start my feelings by just saying that, no game has punched me in the heart so much as this one. Even tonight I was tearing up and stuff. I guess full disclosure, I lost one of my parents last year. So this is kind of really hitting me where it hurts. So
even that I would say is approaching spoilerism.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit dangerous. I mean, even what you said was a little bit dangerous as well. So
no, the main characters in the advert are shown. And the screenshots are 2 girls.
All right. But the outrage is because of... I won't go there. I'll stop. So, yeah. But yeah, it's...
There'll be a petition to change this podcast.
It is a bit awkward to talk about, really.
Well, what we can talk about is the gameplay, right? What I will say is I have been holding my breath for what feels like hours at a time. When I get into combat, whether it's with the humans or with the clickers, there's the odd jump scare, which never feels cheap, and now and again I go, well, yeah, I knew that was coming. And whenever you go into an area and there's like plenty, you've just gone through a bit where you've actually picked up some of the real scarce ammo and health, you kind of go, I'm about to have a really bad time. But the combat itself, you cannot just go in. You find yourself literally scrambling under jeeps and going around and desperately trying to sneak up on people because the ammo, I'm playing on hard, the ammo is so scarce, the health is so scarce, you have to be so careful, and I've died a lot. But what I will say, on the PS Pro, the load times are pretty minimal. I'm quite used to certain games, open world games, you die, you might as well go and make a cup of tea while it reloads. This...
it's
10, 15
it's such
seconds.
A breath of fresh air after Odyssey. It's like, it really... But it's so good because you can be a little bit creative and take a few chances. Because you can get back into it so quickly, it means like, okay, let's try this. It's no big deal,
Yeah, but I'm finding the stealth quite enjoyable. I think it's fairly basic, but it's so tense and so... you're just so fully involved in it. Whilst I think the mechanisms themselves aren't anything special, the way it's done is really good. But every time you get through one of those bits, you're finding these notes, you're scrabbling. I'm going through every single building I get everywhere near, constantly on the scavenge for materials, whether it's to upgrade my weapons or to sort of craft a handful of arrows, whether it's to do this or that. You have to look around, but you then find these notes. A lot of them are quite moving, and it's the background story. It's beautifully told, very well done. There's plenty of slow moments of sort of genuinely emotional storytelling, capped off at a sensible pace with these utterly heart-in-mouth, tense combat scenarios. It's brilliant. It's beautifully well done. I reckon I'm about probably just under halfway through. I've no idea. Well, I've got
Sounds
a rough
right.
idea of where the plot's going, and it is The Last of Us Part 2. This isn't The Last of Us 2. It's The Last of Us Part 2. It is a continuation of the story 4 years later, but with flashbacks to the time in between, fleshing it out, and it is literally, it's book 2. It's carrying on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, the two games it's reminded me of the most is Red Dead Redemption 2 and
In a good
Metro.
way. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2, I must admit, when the game starts, you spend a lot of time trudging around in the snow, but within the first few minutes of that, you get to brutally murder some things, which took nearly 2 hours till I could brutally murder anything in Red Dead. I was just trudging.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same sort of thing, you know, you're opening drawers, you know, scavenging for supplies, spending a lot of time, you know, just on your horse, chatting away and stuff.
Yeah.
It's got that sort of pace.
But it's better paced than Red Dead. I have to point that out immediately, because I was not a fan of the pacing of Red Dead. I found that too slow. The intensity of the highs on The Last of Us 2, and the reasonable brevity of the chilled out moments are okay. I found it's not just a horse riding simulator for the majority.
No, but there's a lot of like walking around, just soaking up the environment, taking stock of where you are. It can be, you know, in the crudest way to say it, a little bit of a walking sim a lot of the time.
I've playing it on hard, which I would recommend, means that you're not just cruising around for the sake of it. You desperately need to be scavenging for the supplies. So it's no longer just wandering around and finding. I've very rarely maxed out on a single supply of anything. I need to use everything I get hold of, and I die a lot because I don't have enough resources. But it means that scavenging the buildings and going off the beaten track is critical.
Yeah, I mean, I have been generally, that's how I play a lot of these games. That's why it reminded me a lot of Metro, because in that you are going around a lot in overground, seamlessly underground, getting, you know, looting every corpse, finding every bit of trash you can to make whatever you can. But yeah, I will say on medium, you sort of find yourself going, oh, have I made enough of these? Because I've maxed out on that all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really must reduce the amount that they give you then on hard.
Actually, it's quite interesting. It does, yeah. And you, within the difficulty settings, you can adjust it so you can play everything on hard, but you can increase the availability of resources. It's got a real interest. It's not just medium, you know, hard nightmare. You could play it on nightmare, but set the availability of resources to easy, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some really good customization options there.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first booted it up, it let me choose like the area that my speakers were in.
Yeah.
And like all this kind of crazy shit. Like, so if you've got a really good home cinema system, this game will serve you very well.
Oh, yeah, I play it with decent headphones, just because I would need it too loud for my wife and children. But yeah, playing it with a good set of headphones, enough. Directional sound, all of that good stuff. Now, it's quite interesting you mentioned Metro, because Metro was a game that I didn't get on with. I found too bleak, and too hard for the same reasons of scavenging around for resources. I think the differentiator there is the ability for the stealth gameplay. So in The Last of Us, if you are out of bullets and you're out of health kits and you're on your bottom bit of health and you don't have a melee weapon, you've still got the option to hide in the long grass and stalk around and go behind them. You can still kill them. Whereas Metro
I guess that's slightly more empowering.
Yeah, you've still got the ability to be a badass, even empty-handed. Whereas in Metro, if you were down to your air rifle and 2 BBs, that's it, you're dead. There is a way around it. You can go around with nothing, and you can still do it in this game.
Yeah, I don't think Metro had quite the same storyline, you know, going through it, either like the strength of the storyline. which is really what The Last of Us 2 is all about.
Yeah.
Part 2 is all about. That's what I'm here for mostly. That's why I didn't really fuck with the difficulty. And I've been going down the path that gives me more health anyway, so I've not been making it too hard, but it's just made those horrific encounters slightly less instant death.
Yeah, so they've introduced a new enemy. So one of the big things in a lot of games these days, you kind of get this mode that allows you to see enemies through walls. Now, whether it's your Batman night vision goggles or your amazing senses in the Arcane games, or in this case, it's the listening skill. You sit there and you can kind of hear where the sounds are coming from, and it shows those sounds as a vision. It's a bit make-believe, but they've introduced this horrible new enemy called, I think, the Stalker, where unless you can make it run, it's invisible to you. And when you're going through this...
I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen it like up close and personal, where it's very obvious when it first appears. I didn't realise that it was actually silent.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's,
That's annoying.
you'll be coming across it very shortly. And, oh, crikey, I needed a nappy during a certain section I went through. It was utterly horrible. I probably died a dozen times, but when I got through and then came out of this horrible, darkened, spore-infested room full of these nightmarish, silent killers, once I'd finally done them, I felt really good. I felt amazing.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
But you know what? I always bang on. I always bang on about my main criteria for a game being fun. Whilst there's some beautifully human moments in the story of this game, I've been crapping myself and had a lot of times where I didn't really enjoy it, if you see what I mean. But I think it's so well crafted.
Yeah.
I'm very willing to forgive the lack of lols for just such a well crafted game.
Yeah, it's incredibly timely as well, you know, I find just the messaging of it as well, like just... We're not quite in such a state in this world right now, but just the general values that it sort of eschews, you know, it's like, it's just, it's just really cool.
Yeah, the other one thing that's worth mentioning, and I think it's a part of these thing, this is not a story of heroism. I mean, the theme of I can't remember what the theme of the first game is, but the theme of the second game is hatred, revenge. I won't go into it any more than that. But I'm starting to realise that, you know, the main character you control in the game, Ellie, you do halfway through the game, you start to wonder what her real motivation is. It's cool. Yeah. Yeah, and there's some interesting revelations with her and Lena, the character. Also, I don't know if they've even shown it in the game, but they refer to the moment that was in the trailer, like years ago, which was quite, you know, notable because they have their kiss and stuff. This isn't a spoiler, it's in the trailer. That they showed it like at E3, like the last time Sony did an E3. I think. Oh, that's when she meets Dana and shares the first kiss. Well, I mean, the whole story starts from there, really.
I just found it interesting that they actually used marketing as a, you know, as an actual genuine storytelling beat.
Yeah, I think retrospectively, that's actually very clever because it's a straight hook in. You kind of go, oh, I remember that from the trailer, and that's who this person is, and there we go. The game starts basically the morning after the night shown in the trailer, which is cool. Yeah.
As far as the light mechanics and stuff, I thought I was being very clever by taking the skill that lets you basically enhance a melee weapon. But what they tell you is it will bring it up to full health, the weapon, you know, full durability. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, brilliant, but I won't do that just yet. I'll wait for it to get knackered a bit first.
And then you get in a fight and you smash it.
And then it gets destroyed immediately. And you can only carry one.
Yep.
So basically now, every time I find one, I make it better. So it lasts a bit longer. Because it's good when you do that, because you can take guys out in one hit.
Yeah, but Rob, I don't have the resources for that.
I know. I suppose, you're living in a much more depleted world. And also, just a note about the violence. Fuck me, this game extreme. Is super violent. I mean, there was a bit where I was going along and I see two people when just everyone is out to fucking kill you in this game. So I'm like, all right, okay, I've just put the scope on my rifle. I'll give this a go. And I sniped this guy. Oh no, I sniped this girl. And this guy, but what's brilliant, yeah, they both react. You could have shot either of them. So you shoot the girl, and he's talking to her, and all of a sudden, like, the bullet's gone through her head, and she's on the floor, and he's like, "Oh my god, so and so's dead." And he's
all the enemies have got different names. It's brilliant.
And you're just slowly walking up behind him, and while he's like devastated at the death of his friend, and you're just doing the game, and it's like, well, I've got to kill him really because I don't have an alternative. Before you know it, you're wedging a fucking glass bottle through his brain.
Well, that's it. Well, it's
unbelievable.
You'll sneak up behind and you'll see Ellie with this real deadpan face sort of clamp a hand over the mouth and say, shh, and then just draw a blade across the throat. It's really dark. Have you shot anyone's dog yet?
Oh, no, I'm not that horrible. You monster.
Oh, you've got to shoot the dogs because the dogs can sniff you out. Right, so they come hunting you in parties, and if they've got dogs, you've got to take the dogs out first. But if they don't really know where you are, and suddenly their dog's got an arrow appeared at its chest, you wait for their reactions. You feel like a monster.
Man. As well as, I know it might sound like we've made this sort of sound like this really just horrible experience, but there are this is a game by Naughty Dog, and so there are still some really awesome like set pieces throughout where, you are running away like fuck, which have been some of the best moments ever. And they do it so seamlessly. In some games you might think, okay, I'm in the action sequence now, but you can properly just stop and, try and fight them if you want, but you have to just run. And, there's been a few moments like that I've quite enjoyed.
Yeah, you see, at the start of this year, I played Days Gone, which had hordes of zombies and scavenging and stuff, and I kind of regret not playing that on... I think I played it on hard. I should have played it on hardest, but nah. But it's quite interesting. I'm still finding myself, every time I go past a police car, thinking, I could open the boot on that and get some... No, wrong game. But it's there are moments where it's just like, I forget what game I'm in. It's this post-apocalyptic, zombie and bandit-infested world where I'm scavenging for stuff. But yeah, it's definitely better than Days Gone, just for the story. The story is brilliant.
I mean, there were a couple of bits where I'm like, oh, this looks like that footage they showed of Days Gone, with lots and lots of things running after you.
Yeah, and I don't get a motorbike.
No, it's just a horse is the only transport I've encountered.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm really glad that you have played it, Will, because I thought I would be monologuing on here.
I'll be honest, I saw the reviews. I had £40 in PlayStation credit available, and I just thought, screw it. I think I need this.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's a good thing.
It's not going to...
Sorry?
Sounds like a good thing that you bought it.
Oh, I'm having a whale of a time, to be honest. I wake up at 6, so about 2 hours before the wife and children in the current lockdown environment. So I get a couple of hours every morning on The Last of Us. And then I enjoy my day like a normal human being. But I've done some terrible, terrible things before my family has woken up.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's it. It's so evil. It's just so unpleasant, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you cannot but marvel at the incredible work they've done.
Yeah, I mean, you look the other thing, just for entertainment value. I mean, the critics' reviews for this game. I've never seen a game get so many straight 10s. It's
and then get immediately bombed by the users.
But within an hour or two of the game's release, which means they couldn't have played it through and couldn't have played it. And this is the whole neckbeard squad.
Yeah.
Can't have those lesbians. It's funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's I can totally see having played it the amount I have, what they're all crying about, but they're all wrong.
Oh, you know what though? I'm generally waiting. It's brilliant having a game with two gay female lead characters. I want to see a good action game with a couple of gay male characters. Because you know what? That's going to really annoy the neckbeards.
Really? Yeah, man.
I want
don't
black,
think anyone's
gay,
got the balls to do it.
Main characters.
Gay and disabled main character. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
Gay and disabled.
communists.
Yeah.
Gay, disabled, communist.
Lefties.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'll be honest. I think I'm going to write. Oh, can we write that into the Back to the Future game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's got so much potential. Because like Biff was an analog for Trump anyway. If you could like turn back time and make all of that not happen. Anyway, yeah. This has been the Rob's Back to the Future game podcast. I think. Yeah, sorry, no, I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, yeah, but maybe Watch Dogs will give you this ability if you pick the right people.
Actually, that's entirely likely. I'd like. I must admit that's so. Hopefully, next time we record, I think there's an Ubisoft show and tell in July, so we should make sure we record shortly after that.
Yeah,
because we've got some stuff coming up, haven't we?
Yeah, I think the next one will be the July announcements and our first impressions of Ghost of Tsushima.
I think I may well have played that. Yeah, I've got to get The Last of Us 2 out the way, but the rate I'm playing it at, I think it should just tick through nicely.
Yeah.
To be able to have had a few hours on that as well.
Has Watch Dogs
I might have a little bit of time. Yeah, it got pushed back about the same time they pushed back Cyberpunk.
To what? To when? Same.
To indefinite.
Do you think they're waiting for PS5 then for a bit more oomph? Because I'm just thinking of what they showed at E3.
Was this
with the amount
Legion?
of characters and stuff, and choosing and having everyone having different storylines and stuff. I didn't see the PS4 being able to pull that off.
I think it might be a part of that performance-wise. I also think it's possible. And this was Rob's point, I'll certainly give credit, that the current political climate in the UK with Brexit, the way it's gone, coronavirus, etc. There's rumours that they may have had to do some rewriting. I wouldn't imagine it's like game-changing stuff, but they may have even needed to change the way some of it plays.
I think they thought that they were, getting on a really hot topic there, but it's kind of obsolete now. It's like, who cares about Brexit?
No, I do.
We've got much bigger problems.
But, like I say, we've got...
And worldwide as well.
So, Ghost of Tsushima comes out 17th of July. Ubisoft Conference 2020, that is 12th of July. So, I'm expecting good things from this. We're going to see more Valhalla detail, certainly. I'm hoping we'll get a Watch Dogs release date. I want to hear more about Gods and Monsters, which looks pretty cool, and I think Rob will be your cup of tea. If it's basically Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but more on the fantasy side, I think it could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And probably quite a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah, 12th of July, and Ghost of Tsushima.
Skull and Bones
that comes
release
out.
date, maybe? Finding out they've put a decent... Well, we'll see. But if we can find out that they've put maybe a decent single-player campaign, and I'd be quite interested.
Yeah, so the Ubisoft thing is on the Sunday, and then the Friday after that is Ghost of Tsushima, yeah. So we'll record the week after that.
Happy days. Lucky audience. Both of you.
Yeah, there you go. So, I think that on that note, that's when we will see you. And I hope you've enjoyed our chat about all the sort of stuff
gaming
and
things.
Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice to have a new game. It's probably the biggest game of the year, and it's taken this long to come out.
I think it's the first game from this year that I have played.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. It was such a slow start to the year. We were meant... actually, Marcus was the first one to play a new game this year. With Final Fantasy.
That's true,
but technically it still counts, yeah.
Yeah, no, you got there first, dude. Yeah. But, all the stuff we've been looking forward to. Watch Dogs, delayed. Cyberpunk, delayed. Actually, those were the big two for me.
Yeah.
But Watch Dogs has been delayed off the map.
It was meant to be me and Rob, innit? It was meant to be me and Rob sort of both playing the games we'd both been waiting for, because they were due to come out around the same time at one point.
Oh, yeah. I did...
and then there was going to be E3.
Absolutely. I did just want to quickly mention, actually, that I finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I actually found the journey far better than the destination, I have to say. I was a little bit let down with the ending of the whole cultist thing. Not only did I called that fucking right at the beginning. I figured out who it was. I won't say who, but I was quite happy that I predicted it right.
It was the butler,
but it did. Yeah, the butler did it. But I did find getting to all of it, there was no like sort of ending really. Maybe I just chose the worst endings, but I feel like I did it all how I wanted to.
I remember the game. I don't remember the ending. I had a wonderful time with the game, but I'm completely with you. It's just a case of, right, I've had all the fun I can have. Let's just see the story through. The story was an odyssey. It was about the journey.
Well, there was the three components of it. There was the family thing, then there was the cult, and then there was the Atlantis stuff. And I think the Atlantis stuff was probably the best of all, actually. I think that was my favourite revelation at the end of that.
I'll be honest, Rob. If the podcast had finished about 30 seconds ago with this whole just nice statement of Odyssey being about the journey, that would have been better.
Yeah, I think that sums up Odyssey quite well. Yeah, but anyway, I will play the DLC, so watch this space. I think that might be something to do before the PlayStation 5 launches, maybe. Anyway, let's end it there then. Thanks for listening to the Not Playing Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Watching Podcast, where me and Marcus talk about movies and TV, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam, Ash and Will talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet out or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk. And if you like what you've heard there, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, stay safe out there.
Time to agree.